One of the most important things we need to win is chemistry. I think that's what we need in Dallas. This is the Gray Area right here on Kevin Gray Sports. My name is Kevin Gray. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports. Be sure to hit that subscribe button right there for all things Kevin Gray Sports here on YouTube. And you can catch me on your home of the Dallas Cowboys and Texas Rangers, 105.3 The Fan. That is what Luka Doncic said in response to my question during his press conference, in which he made official his $207 million max extension for 5 years, getting that done and signed, sealed, and delivered with the Dallas Mavericks. A spirited press conference in Slovenia as Jason Kidd, Nico Harrison, Mark Cuban, Luka Doncic, and his agent Bill Duffy all there to celebrate Luka Doncic signing his 5-year, $207 million contract extension, marking the beginning of the clock now for the Dallas Mavericks to continue to try and put a team around him to help Luka Doncic do the kind of winning that he expects to do with this franchise. In fact, here is my question to Luka Doncic about the idea of how much more say he wants to have with this Mavericks team going forward with his new contract in tow and what that will look like for him going forward. Here's what Luka Doncic had to say.
The most important things to win is the chemistry that the team have off the court. Like, for example, in Slovenia, we had amazing chemistry the whole time. And I think that led us to winning games. And I think that's what we need in Dallas.
So Luka Doncic saying, look, I believe we made some great moves in free agency, but what we need to have is chemistry. Just like I had with my Slovenian team where I led them to a 4th place finish in the Olympics, I believe that's what we need in Dallas, is to continue to grow the chemistry. Now, you could take that for what it's worth. You could think it's a shot at Kristaps Porzingis. You could think it's a number of different things. But what I took from it is the idea that he wants to continue to grow with this team, and that chemistry and building that on and off the floor is the most important thing when trying to win and win championships in the NBA. Having the kind of continuity year after year while also making moves to improve a team around Luka Doncic is going to have to be the name of the game for the Mavericks, Nico Harrison, Jason Kidd, and Mark Cuban going forward. Luka Doncic obviously all smiles as he signed his $207 million contract extension, making it official. And now for the Mavericks going forward, how they will continue to build around Luka Doncic not only this year but going into the future will be paramount given the timeline that they are on, and that 5th year being a player option for Luka Doncic. For the Dallas Mavericks, though, it appears that Luka Doncic feels like this is a second home from him. Question from Brad Townsend about what the Mavericks and why Luka Doncic feels like this is a team that will give him confidence that they will build around him going forward. Luka Doncic saying, look, I believe this is a second home for me in Dallas. Here's what Luka Doncic had to say.
There's a lot of things. First of all, how I feel being in Dallas. I feel like second home, second, third. But it feels like home there. I feel great. The people that work for the organization are great people. So I just feel good there. I can't say nothing else.
So Luka Doncic saying, look, Dallas is a second home to me. Being able to be here and help win going forward, this is where I want to be. And that's great to hear, obviously, for a 22-year-old superstar who's got 2 first-team All-NBA selections under his belt, a former Rookie of the Year, and literally one of the 5 best players in the NBA, taking a country in Slovenia to heights in the Olympics that it had never seen before. He reaffirmed during this press conference also that he plans to continue playing for the Slovenian National Team going forward. Mark Cuban saying, look, I don't have necessarily a problem with that, especially for young guys. The pride that they want to play for their country is something that is paramount and should continue to go forward. So he doesn't necessarily have a problem right now with Luka Doncic continuing to play in the Olympics and in for the Slovenian National Team. But now this goes back to Mark Cuban and the Dallas Mavericks building around Luka Doncic. Mark Cuban saying during the press conference that they feel good and very happy about what they did in free agency. Now, some folks who will be watching this video or thinking about the Mavericks offseason may not necessarily agree with that, given the comments that Cuban made himself after the season about trying to find a second scorer and the Mavericks not necessarily going out and finding that guy. Instead, they go out and find guys like Reggie Bullock and Sterling Brown, 3-and-D wings that can defend and shoot the ball from the three-point line, while also re-signing Tim Hardaway Jr., whose signing is now official himself, coming back on a 4-year deal for upwards of $74 to $75 million. So the Mavericks running it back with a couple of new parts, but also with Tim Hardaway Jr. and signing Boban Marjanovic to a 2-year, $7 million deal, $3.5 million for each of those 2 years. For Luka Doncic, though, this is a terrific marking in his career, obviously having earned first-team All-NBA 2 years in a row, positioning himself as the leader of this franchise going forward. But more importantly, he is going to have to continue to mature and grow, not only in terms of his totality of his game, but how he comports himself and continues to do so on and off the floor. He has been a tremendous role model. He continues to grow, and for a guy at 22 years of age, has wisdom beyond this years, both on and off the floor. And for a Mavericks team that saw a transition from Dirk Nowitzki and his 2-decade-plus career with the Dallas Mavericks, be able to now pass the baton off to another superstar and Luka Doncic, proving and moving the timeline up, if you will, for this Mavericks team to be good going forward. It's a testament to the talent and the skill of Luka Doncic and what he has now meant to this franchise that Mark Cuban would take his front office, Mark Cuban, Michael Finley, Jason Kidd, Nico Harrison, and bring them to Slovenia and show a good sign of will and faith going forward that he knows, Mark Cuban does, how important Luka Doncic is to him and his franchise. It will now be up to the franchise to turn around and deliver for Luka Doncic what he has already delivered to them during his first 3 seasons in the NBA, and that is becoming one of the 5 best players in the NBA, opening a championship window that the Mavericks will need to try and take advantage of by making the kinds of moves to ensure Luka Doncic's confidence remains steadfast in this organization going forward and not give him any kind of inkling that as this deal continues to go on that he may need to leave the Dallas Mavericks. That is ultimately is going to be up to how the Mavericks handle themselves going forward in free agency. But obviously for Luka Doncic, an important day for him to continue to show his faith in the Dallas Mavericks, and more importantly for the Dallas Mavericks now to reward that faith and confidence that Luka Doncic had in him by rewarding him with a team that can ultimately contend for a championship. That ultimately will be the question now for the next 4 years going forward, the next 4 including this year and the 5 totality in terms of his deal. Can the Dallas Mavericks prove to Luka Doncic and more importantly to its fan base that they are willing to do what it takes to win going forward? Getting creative in free agency, getting creative in terms of finding trade partners in order to bring the kind of talent, whether it be a Lauri Markkanen, whether it be a Goran Dragic, whomever it may be, to not only make Luka feel comfortable, but ultimately make this organization be in a position long-term to compete for championships for years to come. But the biggest step and most important step started today. Luka Doncic is making official his 5-year, $207 million rookie Supermax extension, becoming the first player in this contract structure to be eligible for such a Supermax. And he put pen to paper and celebrated in Slovenia with the Mavericks today. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports. Be sure to hit that subscribe button right there for all things Kevin Gray Sports here on YouTube. It's been another episode of The Gray Area. We'll talk to you later. Peace.